Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to 2021. I feel like we should have one of those party blow things.
Yeah, that'd be about 20 days late by now, but you know.
Well, this is the inaugural newscast of 2021, so that deserves a party blow thing.
We have an amazing show for you today, chock full of fun content, informative journalism, and eye-opening interviews.
You should start cold calling people about the newscast.
Yeah, well, you gotta sell it.
First up, we have the video form of a party blow thing, a New Year's interview with Charlie. Let's check it out.
What's your New Year's resolution this year?
My New Year's resolution is to play less video games because I like to play a lot of video games a lot.
My New Year's resolution is to learn a language, Spanish specifically.
Usually we go to my grandparents' house, but we weren't able to do that because of COVID.
My New Year's resolution is to score 15 points or more in a basketball game.
What are you hoping for or excited for this year?
I hope that COVID gets better and eventually goes away and we can go back to fully in-person school.
I'm hoping for COVID to finally be over. I'm hoping for COVID to be over so I can see my grandparents and all my cousins again. Because we usually do that, but we weren't able to.
I am not sure what I'm excited or hoping for this year.
Well, we may have to review the meaning of New Year's resolution with some of those kiddos, but thank you, Charlie, for putting that together. Riley, do you have any New Year's resolutions this year?
My only resolution is to stay 6 feet away from you at all times.
Geez, that's harsh. Well, how's it going?
Well, right now, it's going great. You can see there's one giant 6-foot party blow thing between you and I.
Well, good luck with that resolution, I guess. Next up is the favorite segment for some of you, I think. Do people actually like this? I don't know, maybe. Anyway, it's time for Peak Trivia. As promised, I did change the name.
I like it. It's kind of like piquing your mind.
Okay, well, today's theme is January events, which encompasses a large amount of when I don't want to find something specific.
Right now. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, anyway, question 1. What is Martin Luther King Jr.'s given first name?
And for those of you smart aleck middle schoolers, if it was Martin, we wouldn't be asking this question.
Yes, it is not Martin. Okay, question 2. Which horoscope is the second half of January? And I want to preface this by saying that the people who base their lives off of horoscopes scare me.
I believe I am this horoscope, and yeah, some people are pretty into it.
I don't even really know what it is or how it works, but I use the internet to find which horoscope is this month, so there you go.
There you go.
And finally, how many members of the National Guard are currently deployed in Washington, D.C. ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration?
It is a lot, by the way. Okay, listen, find out, learn. Gosh, we're so informative, Michael.
You know who else is informative? Maddie Strauss, the student council representative to the COVID task force. Let's check in with Maddie. Welcome back to another COVID task force interview. I'm here with Maddie Strauss, the student representative on the COVID task force. Maddie, what was discussed at the last meeting?
So the elementary school, as everyone might know, went back 100% in person. They talked about how that went. It went pretty good. And then the main topic was deciding if middle school should be 100% in person. Ultimately, they discussed that should be postponed a little bit, along with the high school as well.
How did they talk about the testing conversation?
Students are encouraged to sign up for COVID testing, obviously. Wear their masks anytime outside of school that they can, like limiting their exposure, socially distancing.
And then finally, what are the guidelines for winter sports, especially basketball?
With basketball, each player gets 2 tickets for whoever they choose. If you have one of those tickets and you decide to go, you have to wear masks and socially distance in the gym.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Just be sure to stay tuned for more interviews with Maddie throughout the school year.
Thanks to Abby for editing that footage on very short notice.
Sorry, Abby.
It's okay. Next up, we have Mr. Harder's sophomore class with a COVID safety video, I'm told.
This could be interesting.
I think that is a good word for it.
Really COVID-heavy newscast. Don't worry, everyone. It's almost time for Bighorn Sports.
All right, Abby, let's hit it.
The following are examples of situations that could arise because of COVID-19. Remember to silence your phones and get your popcorn.
One day at school, Owen forgot his mask.
Oh no, I forgot my mask. Oh, thank you, Mr. Stewart, for the mask.
One time, Owen forgot his water bottle in gym class.
Oh no, the water fountains are closed. At least I have my water bottle.
One time, Owen sneezed in class.
Achoo!
Owen, please go get your temperature checked.
Okay, Mr. Harder.
You're good.
One time, I heard that Kate and Owen weren't social distancing.
Hey, Kate, how was your weekend?
My weekend was great, Owen.
Hey,
How was
you too.
yours?
Oh, 6 feet.
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Stewart.
Thanks for putting that together.
Riley.
What?
It's time for the first inaugural Bighorn Sports of the 2021 basketball season.
All right, courtesy of Michael, let's fire it on up and fire it over to Michael with more.
Thanks, Riley. Man, I'm certainly fired up for Bighorn Sports. Let's start with the boys. On January 5th, which seems like literally 6 months ago, the Bighorn boys traveled to Harrison to face the Wildcats. Harrison jumped out to an early lead and never looked back, using a swarming man defense to slow the Bighorns' attack. Nolan Schumacher and Michael Romney had 9 points to lead the Horns, but it wasn't enough as Lone Peak fell 68-44. The Bighorns then battled their toughest opponent of the season, COVID-19. The dreaded virus showcased incredible defensive prowess, completely shutting down the Bighorns for 10 days. Right out of a quarantine, the Bighorns hosted the Twin Bridges Falcons, the number 3 team in the state. After an incredible performance, including a 27-point gem by senior Jackson Lang, the Bighorns lost by 12 after leading at the end of the first quarter and a halftime score of 32-30. Lang broke the school record for three-pointers in a game with 7. And finally, if the number 3 team wasn't challenging enough for the Bighorns, they took on the number 2 team in the state on Tuesday night. Manhattan Christian proved too much for the Horns as Seth Amenrud, with 7 three-pointers of his own, scored 29 points in a victory for the Eagles. Senior guard Mikey Botha led Lone Peak with 10 points. To the girls, who also began their season facing a COVID quarantine that caused them to miss the first 4 games of their season. The short-handed Lady Bighorns had their first test of the season against Twin Bridges, who used quickness and shooting to beat the Horns. Sophomore Maddie Cohn paced the Bighorns with 12 points, while senior Ivy Hicks added 8 of her own. Next, Lone Peak also turned to a tough task against Manhattan Christian, who had just moved to the number 10 spot in the Class C state rankings. Again short-handed, the Bighorn defense was exploited by their size and power of the Eagles, who ousted the Bighorns despite freshman Veer Grabos 10 points. Next up, both Bighorns teams travel to Sheridan on Saturday in an important district game. Good luck to both teams. That does it for sports. Riley, back to you.
Thanks, Michael, and let's make sure to all support the Horns as much as we can this season.
To close, or at least to close before trivia answers, we now have a really awesome segment from Mr. Harder's tech class called Reflections at BSSD. Remember that January's learner profile is balanced, so this is a great example of reflecting on our lives and seeing how self-thought is an important part of being balanced.
All right, this is in the running for the highest production value in newscast history, so let's check it out.
Million kids from kindergartners all the way through 12th graders. Some families are struggling to adjust as the coronavirus crisis grows.
We're taking this step to keep our school communities safe.
Yeah, this is the time when students normally line up
Locally
here in
funded
front
schools
of Buzz
will
Aldrin
remain
Middle School,
closed
but this is
until
one of the
May 4th. We're taking the next steps to provide.
They effectively turned us all into teachers.
Okay, so what has been challenging for you this year overall school?
That's a great question.
Just trying to motivate students.
I think math has definitely been the most difficult.
Probably just like trying to navigate the difference between like classes.
But probably the most challenging part is just having to get my brain around having kids on a computer screen and kids in front of me.
Online school. Paying attention on online school.
Something we probably all miss, right? That normalcy of that togetherness.
Have you come up with a plan to overcome that challenge? Have you overcome that challenge yet?
It's when I'm able to be with people who aren't in my quarter of the class, although it's difficult to do sometimes because I live so far away from them.
Do you think we're constantly problem solving and figuring out how to tweak the system?
So, going in early and just my note taking has gone better, I'd say, and yeah, it hasn't been.
I think it's everyday process.
Okay.
So the plan adjusts to different like individual needs, and I think that I've had some success, and where some students still need a little help.
Yes, I've been working to be more on task in online school.
I feel like I am finding new tools to use.
How has online teaching and learning affected you this year? Has it affected you positively or negatively?
Negatively. It's hard to submit assignments on time.
I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's not broke, so I don't think there's really any reason to fix it at the moment.
I would say definitely negatively.
Well, being a counselor, positive and negative are not my favorite go-to words. I think that it's challenged me to think outside the box as a traditional counselor would do.
And then if you could describe this whole experience in one word, what would that one word be?
I've got one word for COVID. That's dumpster fire. Collaboration.
Sleep.
Challenging. Challenging.
Challenging.
Chaotic.
Grit.
Live in the present.
I think that we should do an award show at the end of the year. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that video would definitely be competitive. Thanks, Harder.
Now it's time to learn more about the answers from Peak Trivia.
Question 1. Remember, this was what was Martin Luther King Jr.'s given first name? And the answer is Michael.
Whoa, sick name.
Oh, it's fine. Second question. What horoscope is the second half of January? And the answer is Aquarius, which is supposed to encourage uniqueness, independence, and idealism.
So let's all be unique, independent, and idealist, I guess.
And final question. How many members of the National Guard are currently in Washington, D.C.? And it's about 15,000, which is roughly 6 Big Skies.
Or half the number of views that this newscast is going to get on YouTube.
Keep hoping. Anyway, that does it for us. Have fun on ski days this week.
Yeah, shred it, dude.
For whatever that was, I'm Riley Germain, and we'll see you next time.